What it is, guys, it's your Dino. We are back and we are making content again as long form. It's been a while. I know some people have been wondering where have I been. It's mental health stuff, and that's just by and by. So this is the first video back in a long time, and I hope you guys enjoy it. So I was given early access to the dying world, which is GreedFall 2, and they basically put this game into early access because they felt that getting feedback from its players is the best way to make sure the game is the best it can be. And I think that is a good way of releasing a game that the devs want to make it as best as possible. And that's just one of those ways that things are done nowadays. And so I accept it, but back in the day, it never used to be like the game that was released was the game you got. Showing my age there. But the game's early access content allows you to have about 10 to 15 hours of the gameplay, which is about 25% of the game at launch. And they will be adding stuff through the early access period. So I may go back and visit the game if you guys want to see more at a later date. I have done just an early playthrough. This is like very early content. This is a starting of the game. I didn't want to show off anything that was spoilery because obviously you know how I am. I don't like to give out spoilers, and I am playing this on the PC. So for those who are curious about the console, the PC specs requirements, the minimum is Windows 10 and an Intel Core i7 or an AMD Ryzen 5 1500X with at least 16 gigs of RAM, and they say that you should have a 1060 6 gig or an AMD Radeon RX 5500 8 gig to run the game. The recommended, however, is more than, they say, 16 gig plus an Intel i7 10700K and a Ryzen 5 5600X. The GPU they recommend is a 3060 Ti and a 6700 XT for the graphics card. That is the 8 gig version of the 3060 and the 12 gig version of the AMD card. And they recommend DirectX 12, and you need to have a good space of hard drive space. And the additional notes is that recommendation is for running the game at 1080p and at 60 FPS. Now, I have the first GreedFall on PlayStation, and what I did play of it, it was fun. I enjoyed it. There is a lot of lore in the game, and there is a lot of listening and reading, and I feel that is an old school style of game nowadays, because most of the games nowadays are very threadbare and go do this, go do that. And it's nice to see a story-driven RPG game that really does push you to be immersed in the world. And I do like that. I do see some inspirations in the way that this one plays with regards to like the tactical mode, where you can step back and you can map out what you want each character to do. I do see the inspiration behind that, very D&D-esque, very Baldur's Gate 3 kind of style, and you can see that they have been inspired by that to refine their system that they've got on there. And I feel like that does, they have seen what makes a good game from that, and they've used that to help improve their own unique system that they use. And that's a good thing. Being inspired by other developers to improve your own stuff is never a bad thing. It's great to see the inspirations, and if you can, as a gamer, say, hey, I noticed that from this one, and I noticed that from that one, I feel that's cool. And it's a good talking point with your friends and other gamers and stuff like that. It's a good fun thing to do. Now, this is a franchise that when it first came out, I don't think it was picked up and received very well by a lot of people, but I feel that it has got a lot of potential, and I feel like this new game may actually bring more people over to the franchise, and they may want to pick up the first one and give the first one a go. And I've played the first one quite a bit. It's just I've done most of that off stream and not made content about it, because when I did try and make content about it, wasn't well received because it was very niche game. But that's just by the by. I feel that the gameplay is very smooth on the early access. It does really well on my PC. I have a Ryzen 2700X with a 3060, which is the 12 gig version, and I have 64 gigs of RAM, so it runs really smooth, and it does a really good job. And I feel that if you are waiting for this to come out on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series S and X, that they will have worked out a lot of the bugs that could be there through the initial early access all the way up to the patch release of 1.0, which is when that will be released for everyone on consoles. But I feel like they've done a really good job of it, and I've enjoyed what they've done. I feel like the character models haven't changed much, but I don't think that really matters, in my opinion. The customization doesn't really have to be big and outstanding like Baldur's Gate or, say, Mass Effect or whatever other insert game with better character customization in there wherever you want. I feel like what they've focused on is the story, the lore, the immersion into the world, and the character growth, and the way you can express yourself in the skills and attributes and talents that you pick up as you play through the game, allowing for multiple replays of the game in different ways. So you could like go down the path of doing melee, doing archery, doing magic, so on and so forth. And it does allow for people to have this unique perspective of, hey, have you played this game, and did you play it with melee or magic or whatever, and have different experiences, which will allow people to talk about it and share their experiences and have a deeper connection to its community and sharing what it is outside of just, hey, have you played this game? And I feel like that is something that a lot of people kind of miss out on nowadays. But all in all, I feel like it's got a lot of potential to do very, very well. I hope you guys do pick it up or wait for it to release on console, whatever you may do. It may end up on one of the subscription services out there when it releases, or at some point like Game Pass or PlayStation Plus's thing that they do, or Nvidia Now, because I feel like that is a big selling point for a lot of games nowadays, getting into a subscription service to get a lot more eyes on their games, to be able to grow and experience something that would allow them to do better. Now, that being said, I feel like at this point in the game, they've done a really good job with everything that I've experienced in the game. I do enjoy it. I do recommend it if you'd like the first one, or if you like the idea of this game a bit more than you did the first one. Definitely worth picking up when it's on sale or when you've got the money. Not one to say you have to go out and pre-order games, because pre-ordering doesn't always mean that the game is going to do well, because just look at games like Gollum and stuff like that absolutely flopped. So, or the best one, Concord. Concord absolutely failed. 2 weeks and 2 weeks and a couple of days before they shut down the game. And if the pre-orders were there, it would have been a waste of money for people. That being said, it's just one of those. I feel like you're better off just picking up a game when you want to pick it up. Don't feel pressured to pre-order and stuff like that, because in today's market and today's finances, you just can't risk it in any game to leave yourself invested in the game without knowing whether it's good or bad. But my final thought on the whole thing is that the entire franchise is definitely deep in its lore. It's very immersive, and it allows for so much growth and experience in multiple gameplays and multiple playthroughs. Even if you don't really vibe with one character style, just start again and pick a different character style, because you'll take what you've learned from that first character and you'll be able to transition it over to a second character. Because I've done that on my own playthroughs with this game and the first one, changing things and doing things a little bit different because I didn't like the way that character developed and the weapons and the combat and stuff like that. And I feel like that's not a bad thing. Always be ready to give something a new try, because it allows you to experience new things in new ways, and we need more of that. Look at the industry and look at how games are very one and doney when it comes to games that aren't an online game, don't have an online component. Most of them are just a one and done and no one ever touches them again, and they have their little moment in the sun and that's it. But I feel like with games that have replayability, they have the ability to go further, be bigger, and it comes down to its community ultimately. And that being said, I feel like the community around this game is very big, very passionate, and very diverse, because I know that the first one was picked up by a lot of people, and even though it didn't sell Call of Duty numbers or anything like that, it did well to the point where it warranted a second game. So there's merit there. That being said, these are just my views and opinions. That's what I think about the game. I think it's fun. I think they've done a really good job. I definitely think that what they've got coming in the early access and in the pipeline will allow for them to make it release better on the consoles, so it has a more fleshed out experience there. But it all comes down to the people who are working on the early access, who are playing it, who are giving feedback, and that is a community driven thing. So hopefully it does well. I may pick up and do another video once it hits 1.0, let you guys know what changes have happened and where I stand on it. But this is just my initial experiences from it and what I've enjoyed, and what there isn't very much I haven't enjoyed, ironically. I just feel like it's well rounded and they've done a really good job. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next one. Check out the lives and I'll catch you then. Take care, be safe, be well, have fun gaming and creating, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.